Hi, I'm Mrs. Alexander, the Careers Advisor for Key Stage 5. During this presentation, I'll be discussing the various pathways that students can take after the sixth form, including apprenticeships and university courses. We will also be exploring how UCAS, the University and College Admission Service, can help our students in their search for the right fit for their future. In the second half of this presentation, we'll take a look at the university application process and provide guidance on how to navigate the task of applying to higher education institutions. There'll be a separate presentation available which focuses specifically on how student finance works. I hope that by the end of this presentation, you'll feel more informed and confident in supporting your child as they embark on the next chapter of their academic journey. UCAS is an independent charity providing information, advice and admission services. They process all of the applications to university. The options available to young people when they finish in the sixth form include the following: moving on to higher education, applying for apprenticeships, studying abroad, taking a gap year, which may include travel or working, or simply getting a job. Last term, all students registered with the UCAS Hub and created an account. The UCAS Hub enables students to explore careers, subjects, and apprenticeships all in one place. They can find and favourite courses, search for open days, speak to those in the know using the UniBuddy chat facility, try before they apply with the subject spotlights, take the UCAS quiz to find career matches, and start and submit their applications to university. This is just an overview of how the hub looks when students log on to it. The pathways available to young people who are wanting to continue their education include the following: a certificate of higher education or diploma of higher education are both the equivalent to first and second years of a degree course. These can often be studied at a further education institution such as a college, and sometimes come with the option to top up to a full degree in the third year. Similarly, an HNC and HND are industry-specific courses that can either be done at colleges or universities and often come with that top-up option in the third year to a full degree. Higher apprenticeships provide an opportunity to gain level 4 qualifications or above, such as an HND or foundation degree, whilst working. A foundation degree is a vocational qualification which combines both academic study and workplace learning. Bachelor's degree is usually done at university and full-time takes 3 to 4 years to complete, giving young people a level 6 qualification. A degree apprenticeship enables young people to gain a full undergraduate or even a master's degree whilst they work. On the UCAS Hub, students can see apprenticeship opportunities alongside university courses. The UCAS Hub enables them to explore all of their options and build their profile in one place. When thinking about their next steps, young people should consider the following. They should choose something that they enjoy. After all, they'll be investing their time and effort into this. We always encourage students to think about their own skills, strengths, and likes when deciding on their next steps. They should also consider whether it's right for their career path. They can do this by checking with employers and professional organisations. And they can also speak to us in the careers team just to check out if that's the right pathway for them. They should also consider a study and assessment style that suits them. On the UCAS Hub, students can explore their future and they can discover the options with the subject, industry and career guides. They can explore cities, employers and accommodation information, and they can compare apprenticeship and course opportunities. They can start to make a shortlist and they can save courses, universities, colleges, subjects, apprenticeships and more. They can even use their shortlist to get their top 5 choices for university and keep those favourite information pages to hand to check back on at a later date. The new feature this year on the UCAS Hub is the subject spotlights. This gives students the opportunity to experience what a university course would be like by taking a virtual interactive course taster. So this would feature real-life lectures, seminars, and speaking to academics. There's also some other great features on there, such as on-demand interactive video experiences, interactive quizzes and activities. And they can receive feedback to how they're doing and get a certificate for completing this. As this is a new feature, not all university subjects and courses are available for tasters right now, but there are some great and interesting features to check out. So I will be encouraging students to have a look at that. There is also a chat facility, which is the opportunity to connect with current students and ask them questions and learn about their experiences. So there's around about 5,000 active ambassadors on the chat facility with unlimited chats available. So it's a great chance to kind of like find out what a university or a course is like, with any questions that young people may have to ask current students. There's the UCAS quiz, which matches personality to future careers and subjects and courses. And there's also the Hub Lives, which students can watch expert interviews on demand to help them to make informed decisions about their future. And they can also filter and explore events such as open days and tours. The feature to search and compare accommodation between different universities, so you can start to have a look at the cost of living when you are thinking of moving away. And there is a personal statement builder, which is designed to help students to think about what to include in their personal statement if they are applying to university. So we're just going to talk now about apprenticeships. Apprenticeship is an opportunity to work and study at the same time. So most of your time as apprentice is spent doing on-the-job training, and the rest is spent working towards a qualification. They will get paid a salary and be part of a team just like a standard employee, but they will also get dedicated study time allocated to them. There are over 600 possible apprenticeship standards, which are the training programs that go alongside apprenticeships that exist. It's probably easier to name an industry that doesn't have an apprenticeship than to list all that do. So UCAS have just done a couple of columns here listing the A to Z of apprenticeships, with just some examples on there. If you can see in the first column, about halfway down, there is a doctor standard now, which was introduced last year. So we may not see vacancies available to apply to that just yet, because similarly, the nursing degree apprenticeship standard was introduced about 4 or 5 years ago, and we've just seen our first vacancy locally at Maidstone Hospital advertising for a nursing degree apprenticeship this year. So that's quite exciting, and it's they're adding new standards all the time. With regards to the nursing degree apprenticeship, it said in the advert that they would like 1 year of work experience in an appropriate setting. So I rang the recruitment team to ask what they would accept for that 1 year of work experience, and how somebody who was currently in the sixth form could do that. And they spoke to me about maybe they might have do some voluntary work, or they could have a part-time job in a care setting. And just this week, or just last week, I sent out a vacancy to all of our sixth form for voluntary work at the Maidstone Hospital. The young people need to commit about 3 hours a week for this, and that would be at the hospital, helping out, doing voluntary work, and that would give them the 1 year of work experience that they would need if they decided to apply to a degree apprenticeship in nursing when they finish the sixth form. So we do encourage students to have a look forward and think about the kinds of vacancies they may be looking for when they finish the sixth form, and just checking what entry requirements there are. Is there something they need to be doing now, such as volunteering or gaining some experience? So apprenticeships work in levels, and they are available from level 2 all the way up to level 7. A level 2 is an intermediate apprenticeship, and that is around the same as gaining a 4 or above at GCSE. A level 3 is known as an advanced apprenticeship, and that's the equivalent to A levels or IBs that the students are doing currently in the sixth form. A higher apprenticeship is a level 4 and above, and often a level 6 and 7 are known as degree apprenticeships. So your level 4s and 5s are your HNC and HND, a level 6 is a degree, and a 7 is a master's. Now, students can straight away after completing the sixth form and completing their level 3s can apply to go straight to a degree apprenticeship. But we also encourage students to consider all different levels that are available, because it can often be a great way to get a foot in the door for a good company to work for. And the companies do tend to invest in their apprentices, so it may be that they would have the opportunity to move on and do those higher levels as well. So who can start an apprenticeship? Anyone that's 16 or over and not in full time education. So this is for students when they finish the sixth form. When can they apply? There's not one set deadline, and the opportunities are advertised throughout the year. Larger organisations that have got multiple application processes may recruit earlier than smaller local organisations. Higher apprenticeships with a September-October start tend to recruit in the previous academic year. So when the students come back in year 13, we spend some time talking to them about apprenticeships and when they need to start looking for them. So some of the larger companies that advertise around here and up towards London are BAE Systems, Amazon, and Transport for London. So they will open their application processes from around the autumn winter term to start the following September. They are very competitive, so we do encourage students to apply to lots. Smaller local organisations will recruit closer to the start date. So just this week, I've been sending out some vacancies to the Year 13s with some live apprenticeship vacancies on there for local companies who are looking for somebody to start maybe in July or August or September, and they are advertising now. Last week, I shared a vacancy with Year 13 for a degree apprenticeship in Kings Hill for an insurance company, and they were advertising now to start in September. So they do things slightly different when it's a smaller organisation. But we do send out lots of reminders, lots of emails to the young people, just to say, oh, this company have started to accept applications now, or have you seen this vacancy? So when students registered with the UCAS Hub, they were asked if they wanted to sign up to be linked to relevant apprenticeship opportunities that match their profile. And as you can see on this graphic here, we've got the 6 steps to follow for those that are interested in applying to apprenticeships, and they are on the UCAS Hub. So step 1 is register with the UCAS Hub, which is what all of our students have done. Step 2 is to opt to sign up to receive those alerts on opportunities that match their profile. So some of the students who are interested in apprenticeships have opted for those sign-ups. If they haven't, they can go back in and change that and opt to receive the alerts. Step 3, which is where we're currently at the moment, we're exploring subjects, courses, industries and job roles. Step 4 is where they continue to build their profile. Step 5 is to search for those vacancies. And step 6 is when they're ready to and the vacancies are able to accept applications, they can make their application. So how do they apply to apprenticeships? Applications are made directly through the company or the education provider. They don't go through UCAS the same way that the university applications do. There's no limit on the number of applications they can make, and we actively encourage students to apply for several vacancies. We had a young lady from Pathway CTM come in to speak to our Year 13s last year, and she was sharing her own experiences of applying to apprenticeships. She applied to 43 different apprenticeship opportunities before she was shortlisted and received an offer for her higher apprenticeship. So she was sharing that experience so that students knew that just sending off an application to 1 or 2 wouldn't really be enough. They are very competitive. So the application process varies across vacancies, and they could be asked to send a CV and covering letter, complete an application, or do an in-app or on-site application. They can apply to universities and apprenticeships at the same time, and we do encourage them to do so just because the apprenticeships are very competitive. This part of the presentation, we're going to have a look at the UCAS application process and some of the dates that university applications need to be done by. So as you can see from this slide, we're looking at when to apply for 2025 entry, and we've got a timeline across here. So you can see at the beginning on the 30th of April that UCAS started to display courses for 2025. In the week of the 14th of May, UCAS applications were opening for 2025 entries, and that is when students could register with the UCAS Hub and start to create an account. And all of our students in that week registered with the UCAS Hub and began to create their account. Over the next few weeks, we'll be running sessions for anyone who is interested in going to university on how to choose a university course, how to choose a university, and how to complete the application form, including a separate session on completing their personal statement, because all students who apply to university will need to write a personal statement to go alongside their application. So hopefully students will be able to work on this over the summer holidays and be ready for when they come back for us to check those over. But from the 3rd of September, UCAS opens and will be the first day that they will be able to receive a completed application. If you move along on the timeline, you'll see the 15th of October is the deadline for courses in medicine, veterinary science, dentistry, and courses at Oxford or Cambridge. So they have a slightly earlier deadline. At the Morling School, we set our deadline of the end of October, and we set this deadline so that we can ensure that students get their applications into us in plenty of time so we can check them over and make any amendments. We also attach their predicted grades and their reference to that before we submit that to UCAS on their behalf. Moving along the timeline, you'll see that the UCAS deadline is the 29th of January, and that is the deadline for all applications to be in to receive equal consideration by the universities. So some key facts about university applications. So students can start their application from the 14th of May, and everybody in the sixth form studying the IB registered with the UCAS hub, and those that are interested in university have started to do their application. Universities and colleges can't see their other choices when they apply, because as you see just along from here, students get to choose 5 choices unless they're applying to study medicine, veterinary science or dentistry, then they will have 4 choices. You can't apply to both Oxford and Cambridge, you need to choose one or the other. And applying to university costs £28.50. That goes directly to UCAS for their administration fees, and students will need to pay this before submitting their applications and pay this by debit card. So as mentioned before, I will be running sessions over the next few weeks with anyone who's interested in going to university about how to choose the right place for them and how to choose the right course. So this slide just talks about some of the things that we will be covering in the session. So when choosing a university or college to move on to, students should consider the style. So some universities are a more traditional style with a focus on subject-based courses and research, and you will also have your more modern universities and colleges that have a greater focus on vocational courses. It's important to consider the location. Some are in large cities, other in small towns, some are by the coast, some are in the countryside, and they can all have a major influence on the environment and lifestyle of a student that goes there. Universities come in different sizes as well. So some of the larger universities can have more than 20,000 students, and whereas some of the smallest only have a few thousand. So that can sometimes sway somebody's decision if they would prefer somewhere small or if they'd like somewhere that's a bit more bustling and busy. Something else to consider as well is to have a look at what graduates do. All universities collect destination statistics, so it can be useful to find out what jobs or further study students go on to. Tuition fees, it says they can vary between universities and college. I found that most universities do opt to charge the maximum amount for their tuition fees, which is currently £9,250 per year for tuition. But the colleges will be slightly cheaper if you're going to go to a college instead of a university to study something like an HNC or an HND. But it is important to check out their scholarships and bursaries because these do vary between universities. They all have a page dedicated to this on their website, and it's worth seeing what packages are available if you decide to go there as a student. The other thing to think about is the living costs, because obviously this varies quite a lot between different places in the country. So it's worth having a look at how much accommodation may cost within different areas when you're looking at universities. We talk about choosing the right course as well, and we talk about making sure students look at what the course covers, because courses with the same title can vary greatly between universities. So we always encourage students to look carefully at the core course content and the range of optional studies and modules that are available. They should think about what modules are the most interesting and relevant to their career aspirations. They should also see if the course or university offers any internship, placement or study abroad options. These can be really popular with young people if they have the opportunity to go and do a couple of terms in another country as part of their university course, or if they have the option to do a year in industry or a year of work experience or an internship. Sometimes this is a paid year and sometimes this is an unpaid internship, but it is a great way of building up work experience and making contacts within an industry. So it's worth checking that out as well if that's available as part of your course. Another thing to consider is how is that course assessed? When choosing a university or a course, students should also consider entry requirements. So these will either be grades or UCAS points. They may ask for specific subjects. They may even ask for specific grades at GCSE. There could be an additional test, such as for law, you need to do the national admission test for that, and medicine also have an additional test to do, and those points are taken into consideration as part of the application process. And some universities will interview as well. So predicted grades will help students to find a course that matches their academic ability. Now, these will be available at the end of year 12, and students will be given predicted grades so that they can start to match themselves to a next step, whether that be university, apprenticeships or employment. Some university will ask for UCAS tariff points and some will ask for specific grades. Each qualification that the students do and the grade that they get will have a value in UCAS points. We say that students should aim to include an aspirational and a safe option in their choices. So this is just giving you an overview of what it looks like when you're on the UCAS page and you scroll down to those entry requirements. You'll see that there's different, on the left-hand side, it says qualification requirements, and the top here it says UCAS tariff, and this particular university has asked for 112 to 128 points. You can drop down on that box and it will tell you if there's any specific subjects included in that, if there's any other rules with that. Similarly, as you work your way down, it will tell you the different qualifications, and you can click on that to open it up and see if there's anything else specified, if there's any particular subjects they've asked for. There is a new feature this year, which is your historical entry grade data, which shows you the typical offers they made over the last couple of years to students. So you can start to see the kinds of grades that they have accepted onto this course. It also tells you the success rate of students applying, how many get offered per how many that are applying. And there's an opportunity for you to go on there, put your predicted grades in and see how you compare with students that were offered a place last year. So when we're looking at entry requirements, it's important to know how our qualifications that we study here in the sixth form are scored. And we've got two different pathways at level 3. We have the IBDP, which is the diploma programme. Here, each subject is scored from 1 to 7, and students get up to additional 3 points that are awarded to them for their theory of knowledge essays and for the extended essay. A minimum of 24 points is required to obtain the IB diploma, whilst 45 points is the maximum. So you'll see on the on the right-hand side of this slide that we've got a couple of examples of entry requirements, and the universities are asking for students to have a certain amount of points overall, and they're also asking for them to have certain grades in some of those subjects. So this first one says 34 points overall, with a combined score of 16 achieved in their 3 high-level subjects and no grade lower than a 5. The next one down saying a typical offer usually requires points, a score between 40 and 42 out of 45, with a 7, a 7 and a 6 in their high-level subjects. So there are a couple of examples of the offers that could be received for the diploma programme. The next slide I have just, which I've skipped onto, sorry. The next slide I've just gone on to here is just to give you an example of how that IBDP could be scored out of the 45. Students do 3 subjects at high level, 3 subjects at standard level, and they do their theory of knowledge and extended essay. So it's just to give you an example of how this person achieved 36 points out of the subjects that they were studying. So for their higher subjects, they got a 7, 5, 6, and for their standard, they received 5s. And they also got those 3 points for their theory of knowledge. So this example student gained 36 points from their IBDP. So on to the next slide, the other pathway that we offer here in the sixth form at level 3 is the IBCP, which is your careers programme. And that receives UCAS points in the same way that A-levels does. So whereas the IBDP is scored 1 to 7, we're still scored 1 to 7 for our grades, but they are going to give us UCAS points that are equivalent to the A-levels. So I've put an A-level table on the right just for comparison. So you can see that if a student is studying an IB at higher level, and they were achieving a grade 7 in that, that's 56 UCAS points, which is the same as an A star at A level. A 6 at IB higher level is 48 points, and an A at A level is 48 points. Now, the interesting part to note here is the 5 at higher level IB gives you 32 UCAS points, which is the same as a C at A level. However, all of the universities that I've spoken to and all of the offers that I've seen consider an IB higher level 5 to be the same as a B at A level. If students are studying the standard level IB instead of the high level, that will receive half the UCAS points. So it's like half an A level, which was your traditional AS level before. So if doing a standard level, that will be half the UCAS points. The vocational elements, which are your BTEC and the WJEC, which is anyone studying criminology, also receive UCAS points in the same way that A-levels do. So BTEC is scored distinction star down to pass, and the WJEC is scored A star down to E. They all receive points in the same way that the A-levels and the IB diplomas do. So with the top points being 56 and your lower points being 60. All students studying the IBCP will be taking part in the core element of the course, and that is graded A to E and gives up to an additional 12 points. So on the next slide, I've just given you an example of how those points might be made up for students studying the IBCP. So on the left-hand side, we're going to give you a total of their points. They're studying 2 higher levels and a BTEC, and we're also including their core in these points. So this person did high level film and they got a 6. They did high level English and they got a 4. They did the BTEC business and they got a merit, and they also got a C for their core. So that person achieved 112 points overall. On the right hand side, we're looking at the best 3 grades, because often the universities will offer or ask for the best 3 grades. So they know that you're doing the IBCP, they know that you've got the core element, but they're only going to offer on three of your qualifications. So this person got a 7 in their maths at higher level, they got a 5 in their chemistry, and they got a distinction star in their applied science BTEC. So they achieved a total of 140 points. So each university is unique, and their offers will reflect their entry requirements. So some will ask for a certain amount of points and not specify a subject, and they'll usually go for the best 3 subjects, while others will specify certain grades. So I've just included a couple of offers that we had for students a couple of years ago, just so you can see how they're very personalised to the student and how they can differ a little bit from those entry requirements. So this person on the left went to study English literature at Birmingham, and she was studying 3 IB diplomas and a WJEC in criminology. She received an offer which talked through what she would get from her 3 IB diplomas, but she also got a couple of alternative conditions as well. So sometimes universities will do that. So Birmingham's offer to her was quite detailed. So they asked for her to have 665 in her IB diplomas, but they also gave her 2 alternative offers if she achieved an A star in her WJEC criminology or a B in her criminology. So they're given a couple of different alternatives as well. So it's kind of like making up those points, but making up those points slightly differently. The one in the middle is from a student who applied to Kingston University to do computer science, and they were asked to gain 112 UCAS points from the 2 BTECs they were studying. They didn't ask for anything of their IB. That particular university just said, we want you to gain 112 points from 2 BTECs that you are studying. And the third one is for a student who applied to do forensic investigation at Coventry. She was asked to get a pass overall, so they were interested in the whole subject, the whole qualification, and they asked for her to have 2 higher 4s at IB and to get a grade C in her WJEC in criminology, as well as passing the whole thing overall. So it's a lot of information to take in, but it just gives you a flavour of the kind of offers that students are receiving from universities. So we'll just go through the sections of completing the UCAS application. So at the beginning, all students register for the UCAS Hub account, which they all have done. And for those that are interested, they are starting to carry out their research and start their applications. So students complete all sections of the application and they send it to us. We then review the application, check everything over, add a reference and predicted grades. Applications are then sent to UCAS by us on behalf of the student, and universities and colleges make their decisions based on that application. When students started their application with us, we asked them to link to our school. So we gave them a buzzword, which was Malling 25, and that means that we are able to track and view their application, but it also means that we will be able to write their reference, put their predicted grades on, and send that to UCAS on their behalf. So we'll just go through the sections, the different sections that the students need to complete for their application. So we have the application profile, which has got personal details, nationality details, where they live, contact details, etc. There is the finance and funding part on there, where students need to select that they will be using student finance or UK student finance to fund their course, because anybody going to university, the norm is that you would borrow the money from Student Finance England to pay the tuition fees. So it's just a case of you just tick that box there. As I said, we will have a separate presentation available on student finance, and we'll go into that in a lot more detail. So the next section is the experiences section, and that is where students will complete the education. They need to put in all of their GCSEs with their grades, and they need to put in all of the subjects they're studying at the moment, but they don't add the grades because we will add them in the predicted grade section. They just need to click pending, so they've not They don't need to worry about putting predicted grades in. There's a section there for employment and any extra activities. And one of the biggest parts of doing your application to university is the personal statement. So we will be doing some support on that and doing some sessions on that and giving students feedback and lots of support and help with writing their personal statement. So the personal statement is the only section they've got full control over and the only chance to market themselves as an individual. The same personal statement is sent to all 5 choices. So students, when choosing those choices, should be looking at making them very similar between universities, because that same personal statement goes to all universities. So it needs to make sense for every course they're applying to. They have a maximum of 4,000 characters or 47 lines, which is about an A4 sheet of paper. It's about 5 paragraphs. There's a minimum of 1,000 characters, but we don't kind of like suggest that students should stick to that minimum. There's not a spelling or grammar check if you type directly onto the UCAS hub. So we always advise students to create their personal statement in a Word document first, so that we can check it over, give them any feedback. It can be spelling and grammar check can all be done on there, and then that can be copied and pasted into the UCAS hub. UCAS has a similarity detection service, and every personal statement is run through software to check for plagiarism. So it's worth just kind of noting that the use of AI may obviously jeopardize that, because sometimes if you're using AI to help you create something, they may cut and paste something from that's already been published or on the internet and then pop that into their suggestion for you for your writing. So I say to any students that do use AI, such as ChatGPT, that it's great for ideas and gives them some ideas about what to include, but it should always be in their own words. So as mentioned in a few slides back, there is a personal statement builder in the UCAS hub with lots and lots of articles of things to include in that personal statement, and they're very subject specific, if I can speak, about, so it can help you to choose what to put in your personal statement, depending on what you choose to study at university. Okay, universities and colleges will receive the personal statement, the qualifications, and the reference. They may also ask for an admissions test. They may also ask for you to attend an interview, or they may ask for a portfolio or an audition. So as we mentioned before, for admissions tests, things like law and medicine have admissions tests that students need to complete, and they need a certain grade as part of the entry requirements. Some university courses definitely have interviews attached to them. So if you wanted to go into teaching or any of the allied health, medicine and nursing, they all have an interview. Physiotherapy is another one. So you have to go to the university and have an interview. And obviously for anybody that is doing something performing based, such as music or dance or drama, they will need to do an audition. And for anybody doing something art based, such as film or fine art or graphic design, they will need to create a portfolio. Students can use the UCAS Hub to track their applications 24/7. They'll be able to see all of their choices, keep up to date and view and reply to their offers. They will receive one of 3 decisions from their choices. They will either get an unconditional offer. We don't get that many of those, but they are for students who've obviously impressed the university and they don't need them to have any specific grades. We do get a very small number of those. It's usually a conditional offer that students receive, or they may get an unsuccessful decision to their application. Okay. So once all decisions are received, students can reply to their offers, and they can make one as a firm acceptance, which is their first choice, and they can also have another as an insurance acceptance, which is their backup choice. All remaining offers must be declined. We've got a couple of other options here as well. So for anybody that's used all their 5 choices and had no offers, they can add extra choices for consideration one at a time from the 26th of February onwards. Also, we have clearing that opens. It's for students who received no offers or declined all their offers or not met their conditions. So on results day, sometimes if results come in and they've not met the conditions, they may be unsuccessful in their place and then put automatically into clearing, where they would then get to find vacancies and add a clearing choice to their application. So next steps. What can students be doing now? So research, research, research. That is the stage we're currently at. And as I said, we've got some sessions going ahead with the students over the next few weeks about how to research. They should be attending open days and events if they've not done so already. And we'll be encouraging them to look at open days and attend them where possible. I know it's not always easy to get to all of the universities you're interested in, but really try to visit those ones that are top of the list, because it can be so helpful to go and visit somewhere to see if you get the kind of like feeling for the place. The extracurricular and supercurricular activities, this goes alongside with their personal statements. These are things they need to include in their personal statements. So they should be doing extra reading around the subject that they're interested in. So this could be watching documentaries, listening to podcasts, reading books, reading articles, and we will be giving hints and tips to the students on how to do this to make sure they've got extra curricular and supercurricular activities to include in their personal statements. Work experience, all students are going out on work experience at the beginning of July, but they can also do some more in the summer holidays if there is anything available for them that can be relevant to their course. Volunteering, as mentioned before, can be really handy for some of these courses and apprenticeships. Independent learning outside the curriculum, that forms part of that kind of supercurricular activity where students talk about articles they've read, or maybe films they've made at home if they're interested in film, or a book they may have read. So these extra things they can be doing in the summer holidays. And the most important of all is focusing on this year's studies, getting the best possible grades that they can. Will give them more options. So keeping you informed, UCAS has their own parent section dedicated for parents. So as you can see there, it's ucas.com/parents. You can sign up to the UCAS parent newsletter, and there's specific UCAS guides that are available just for parents and carers. Just their telephone number that you can go for customer experience centre, but there it shows you as well that they've got a presence on social media. So they've got a Facebook page and an Instagram page, etc. Thank you for listening today. I've popped my email address up there, which is lisa.alexander@themorlingschool.kent.sch.uk. Please do get in touch with me if you have any queries or questions regarding your child's next steps. I'm happy to either book an appointment with you or spend some time talking over the phone, or if you just want to have a chat over email, that's absolutely fine. But I'm here to help you with anything to do with your child's next steps and future plans. So thank you for listening today. And I will hopefully see you soon.